All right, hello, Idiots on Parade, the Too Ugly for TV podcast. We mock the news so you don't have to. Hello, Jake.
How's it going?
All is well here, ladies and gentlemen. That is Jake Vevra, stand-up comedian in New York City. I am Nathan Timmel, stand-up comedian in Iowa City. Happy New Year, Jake.
Happy New Year.
I have not talked to you since before Christmas when we pre-loaded our Christmas episode, but today is January 1st. And
yes.
Any New Year's if you're listening on Chicago's Comedy Scene Radio Network, thank you for tuning in. Hello, Chicago. That's my New Year's resolution, Jake, is to remember to thank Chicago at the beginning of every episode. Sometimes I forget.
That's a good one. I'll go with that one too. Thank you, Chicago. I guess my official one is I'm going to eat pizza on the internet less, because man, has that gotten online celebrities taken down quickly.
Number one story I wanted to talk about today is that one. Did you watch his video? Actually watch it?
I only saw like a little clip.
Okay, well, here's the. So
I
read about
the
it
whole
first.
thing before now.
I read Andrew Tate arrested because he released video and they used pizza boxes to track him. I did not realize until I watched the video that no, there weren't pizza boxes sitting in there. He actively said, "Bring me pizza," and then set the boxes down. And they're like, "Oh, well, that's this
man."
I don't even know where to begin.
2.0. It's fucking wild, man.
I do not know where to begin with this story. I wish you had watched his video, because I cannot tell, and I am being dead serious here. I cannot tell whether he is the dumbest person on the planet or if he is a comedian on par with Sacha Baron Cohen, and this Andrew Tate persona is like his Borat. Because did you, with the clip you saw of his video, did you see him trying to turn Greta's mocking of his penis on her?
A little bit, yeah. I think I did see that one.
He acted confused. He's like, small dick energy, why would that be your email address? Okay, Greta, nice email. And I can't tell if he's really that dumb and trying to turn it around and thinking people are buying it, or if he's playing a character and playing that stupid, because it was bizarre to watch. And the part where he said the Matrix, the world Matrix, got bots to relike her tweet. No, the world liked her tweet. They thought it was hilarious. If I can't tell again, I'm dead serious. I do not know if he literally believes that bots were retweeting it and liking it, and that everybody loves him and not her, or if he's playing stupid and pretending that bots are retweeting her. If he's pretending, it is a brilliant character. If he's not, he may just be the dumbest person on the planet.
I think it's a little bit of both. Hear me out on this one. So
sure.
I think he definitely thinks that there's a lot of bots retweeting her, because and that would have been a lot more feasible before Elon Musk took over Twitter, because it's like we do know there was a lot of bots.
Yeah.
Well, and still is, but it had like certainly a political lean, more of a political agenda that swung heavily left. So it's like that would have made a little more sense a little while ago.
I disagree. The powers behind Twitter at B did lean left. The bots tended to retweet, things that poked at the fabric of society, and tended to lean. No, some of them did lean left. The Russian bots,
a lot of them did. No, I mean, there was a lot of bots that did both things, but certainly there was going to be a lot less flood control, so to speak, on the ones that lean left. So I at least get where a lot more of the conspiracy-minded stuff would have come from before Elon took over, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
However, he also has to play that up. Whatever he actually believes is fact in that whole, well, it's the Matrix that's retweeting your stuff. He has to play it up tenfold, because he is the Magnolia Tom Cruise character. So he's got to, his so much of the money that he's making, unless he's making it all from human trafficking, which may
be the case.
It may be the case. We're gonna find out more in the weeks to come.
I do have something to say on that level too when you're done.
Sure.
On that, I have a thought, but go ahead.
Sure. so that he has to kind of convince these guys, because it is you know that you're feeding them a little bit of bullshit if you're that guy, because you're essentially going, hey, loser beta guys, I'm gonna teach you how to be an alpha, a guy that leads the pack by listening to everything I say, and follow me and you'll be an alpha. We're like, well, okay, by definition that's kind of bullshit. So you know that you're kind of doing a character, even if you sort of believe what this character's saying, you're blowing it up to comic book level,
Yeah. So you're saying it could be both. He does believe I believe that. I do believe he believes in the Matrix and the bots and all of that. What confused me was the idea that he is that nobody liked her attack on him, her comeback, which was obviously brilliant and went viral for all the right reasons.
Right, it was hilarious. It was a good,
yeah,
it was a great comeback.
The thought as far as human trafficking go, and I'm going sideways here, and I'll probably get in a lot of trouble from our 4 viewers who will, if they're woke, they won't like this. I read about the human trafficking, and it said he's already been arrested once. There was an American, so they said that he started online romances and lured women to him, and then would entrap them and put them in a room and get them on OnlyFans and make money off them. Right. All horrible. I hope it's not true, but if it is true, and I'm saying I hope it's not true for the sake of the women, sure. But if it is true, I hope he gets arrested and rots in a prison.
Right. Likewise, yeah. Of course.
So the part that's going to get me in trouble is I read a story about an American woman that said it happened to her, that said she fell for his online bullshit and flew to meet him and then got trapped and got put on OnlyFans, and only made her way out when she was able to contact her boyfriend. And when I read that line, I'm like, wait a second, do you mean ex-boyfriend, or like, right? I know there's a little, I'm stuck on the details here.
Yeah, right. I'm not trying to kink shame different lifestyles or whatever, but there it seems that there's some pieces
she's meeting this guy online and flying to Europe to hang out with him. You would hope she would have let go of that previous Vine and not contacted her boyfriend from Europe. Hey, this guy I'm cheating on you with turned out to be not the most upstanding character. Like when I read that one line, she was able to get in touch with her boyfriend.
I fell in love with a woman overseas. It was instant. We were star-crossed lovers. So anyway, I was talking to my wife and 3 kids the other day. It's like, wait, hang on, hold on. There's a little bit of what's going on here.
And I will admit, this is a personal thing, just because my very first girlfriend cheated on me. So when I see something like that, it sort of hits home. We're like, hey, wait a second, like, again, probably inappropriate to take it out of context given what she went through, but it did jump out at me.
You think it's personal for you? My last girlfriend cheated on me with Andrew Tate on a fucking campsite. So I mean, it's viral everywhere, man. I can't even masturbate with the thing on just auto cruise. I can't put the cruise control on my little Pornhub searches without running into heartbreak every time.
Horrible. I feel for you, Jake. I do want to.
He trafficked my heart. That's what he fucking did.
Since I am going down a path of pissing people off with taking things out of context, I do want to not attack Greta a little bit, but just maybe coach her. I don't know. The one thing Greta did that I don't want to say an issue with is she said that's what happens when you don't recycle pizza boxes, because he made the comment like, make sure you don't recycle the pizza. Bring me pizza and make sure you don't recycle the box.
That's a hilarious response too. Come on, man.
Well, she should have said compost. That's all I'm saying is compost, the cardboard.
There you go. Who's really fighting the good fight now? Compost. She's a moderate. She's a fucking sellout, dude.
She's not hardcore enough. She said recycle. You can't if it has cheese grease, if it has food products, it needs to compost. Send it back to Mother Earth, Greta. You dropped the ball on that.
I'll bet Greta Thunberg is sitting there eating her pizzas with foie gras and crude oil on it too. You fucking Judas.
Hopefully someone does hear us attack her, and then we blow up. Our podcast blows up. So
goddamn right.
That's what we're going for. All right, moving on. What did I say the next topic should be? Oh, I thought this was fascinating. Let me read that headline. In testimony, Hannity and other Fox employees said they doubted Trump's fraud claims. I found this fascinating because I fully expected people to lie. They said Sean Hannity went in for his deposition and said, yeah, when I had guests on that said he's playing both sides of the aisle, of not the aisle, of the media aisle, where he is saying, I did not believe the claims were true, that there was voter fraud, but I have a news source and other people I'm a news show and other people are saying, so I need to have them on to hear their points of view. I expected him to lie. I fully expected Fox people to go in and say, well, there could have been fraud, at least to play enough of a dummy to just say, I'm just being a journalist and hearing both sides. It was interesting to hear him say, I didn't believe there was any fraud. I'm still going to have guests on to talk about it. I don't know how this is going to play out in court. It could work. They could say, yes, as a news source show, you need to have on both sides, or anyone with a point of view. I would be interested to find out if it's going to fail and if Dominion wins their lawsuit.
Yeah, it's a weird one, man. I don't know, man. I could see him. I could see him winning the lawsuits, but that weird little thing where you got to have both sides on there. It's like, well, that wouldn't be American news anymore, would it? That would be. What are we going back 50 fucking years here? Come on.
Well, and plus, he was not having on Dominion people saying "fuck you." As far as I know, he was not having on Dominion people saying "fuck you." We ran a legitimate election with solid machines. He was just having on nutbags that were saying it was stolen.
All right, because at that point, then, just to kind of flip it on its head, does the guy that owns that computer store that Hunter Biden took his laptop to, does he get to sue CNN for calling him fucking Russian misinformation and making fun of him for being blind and all that fucking shit?
Well, that punk kid, was it Nicholas Sandman? The punk kid at the abortion rally with the native, he sued and won.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so maybe it's and to be fair, he should have won that one. That was bullshit what the media did to him.
Well, and it would be nice.
I think he should win. I think Dominion should win.
I agree with you. And as much as I disagree with his politics, I was happy that Peter Thiel backed Hulk Hogan when they released that sex tape, and I think it was him dropping the N-bomb.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's not news.
No.
Hulk Hogan, you can write a story. Hulk Hogan drops the N-bomb, cheats on his wife, but to show a private video of Hulk Hogan boning some woman or whatever it was, it was nice that that whatever media, what media group, it bankrupted.
That was
Gawker, yeah. And I think CNN and we're in a rush today to be first. It's like, just throw a headline out. Who cares what the facts are? Get the clicks. I would like to see hey, let's not be first. Let's be correct.
Well, and here's the thing. It wasn't even about not being correct. All they had to do was cut out the part where he was fucking. That's all they had to do. Because here's the thing. World's most famous wrestler of all time says N-word on camera. That's getting some clicks.
Yeah.
I would argue that's getting more clicks than this fucking sex tape in the first place. So
nobody wants to see either of them naked.
No one wants to see 2000s Hulk Hogan looking like Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler, about to have a heart attack on top of Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. Like, no one wants to see that.
No.
Not even Bubba the Love Sponge wants to see that, and he was the one recording the thing. He fucking came down off of his bender and coke high, and he was looking at this. He's like, I'm not even a good cameraman, but what I can make out isn't great. I should just get on Pornhub and look up dudes that look like my wife and Hulk Hogan when they were in the 80s, man. Like, that would be a better porn to watch, and it's out there.
Look up Jerry Falwell Jr. Cuck videos.
Yeah, no one wants to see the Colorado porn dad fuck now. No one wants to see Dick Delaware fucking in the 2020s. We want to see the early 2000s Dick Delaware. We want to see the pre-homophobic. Well, he's probably
he was probably homophobic back then.
Yeah. I don't think that just starts in 2 years, man. That really it takes some time to cultivate homophobia like that.
You got to start at early childhood.
Yeah. We want to see either way. We want to see him being homophobic in the early 2000s naked. That's,
Yes. No, it's funny what you said that, because I almost made the same comment that popped into my head, as nobody wants to see Hulk Hogan fucking now. We want to see bald Hulk Hogan from the 80s, because he was bald even back then. But, buff, skin taut, not skin sagging.
Right.
Where just his ball sack looks like the ball sack, not his whole body and face looks like a ball sack.
Yeah, and how do you not have Hulk Hogan fucking on camera without playing "I Am a Real American" in the background? Come on, man, it's right there.
The only thing I can think of is maybe that was copyrighted and they just didn't want to get in the fight.
Yeah, he should have done his finishing movie. Yeah, that would be funny if there was another lawsuit right after the Gawker run by Vince McMahon, and he was like, "I'll be taking that 160 mil Hulkster. You didn't sign off on that."
Like when The Rock couldn't be called The Rock because WWE owned it, and he wasn't that the case. Dwayne Johnson didn't own The Rock, but Vince McMahon did. I can't remember, but I thought something along. Maybe it was the eyebrow. I don't know.
Could he throw on a sombrero and do like El Roque, something like that? Could he? I mean,
then it'd be cultural appropriation. Then he'd get canceled.
That's a good point. There's a good point. What if he went with the boulder? What if we went synonyms on this one?
Yes, there we go.
The avalanche.
All right, moving on.
That's like a bunch of rocks that pile on top of you.
Now, boulder's just a large rock, isn't it?
Yeah, he's even bigger now, dude.
Yeah.
He can take roids.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jake, my favorite thing in the world. I absolutely love this, and you know it. It's the clickbait headline. I feel like I should have like a musical flair there, or cheering like the clickbait headline. Yay!
Clickbait of the week. Yeah.
Here's the headline: 28 Republicans who call gay people groomers just voted against a bill addressing child sex abuse. Okay, sounds horrible. Who would vote against a bill against that would address child sex abuse? So sure, 28 Republicans who call them groomers, whatever. But if you read into the story, the bill introduced by senators including John Cronin of Texas, Republican, Lindsey Graham, Republican, Amy Klobuchar, Democrat, so bipartisan bill, was voted against by Republicans, and AOC voted against it.
Oh, I
have
that.
AOC voting against this bill. That's not in the headline. AOC votes against a groomer bill because she doesn't call homosexuals groomer, but it doesn't say what's in the bill. The gross hypocrisy, it doesn't say why.
I will say that I was looking for that and I couldn't really.
Yeah.
I was just getting vague.
Well, because they wanted the headline. They wanted the part where some of the Republicans the 28 of the Republicans use the word groomer. Why did AOC vote against it? And it's funny because I just thoughts like this is bad reporting. It's a clickbait headline, but it doesn't tell you why certain people vote against it. The bill
was she maybe hungover from a Christmas party and she clicked the wrong box? You think this is a Florida 2000 situation?
It could be. I mean, it says that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, their obsession with the groomers, exclusively focused on a non-existent threat posed by LGBTQ adults living openly, but it doesn't. Anti-LGBT groups have been on the rise. It doesn't say anything about the bill or why. It said it's bipartisan in nature and bipartisan voted against. To me, it's just the headline that it wants to push the narrative.
Yeah, I even clicked on one that was like a Newsweek link, and I couldn't get the other side in terms of why they voted against it.
Yeah. I mean, because AOC is not anti-gay, but she saw something in this bill, unless, like you said, she was hungover and clicked the wrong button, that she voted against it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. I don't know if maybe it was a matter of she was trying to get something into the bill that wasn't put in.
That could be.
And so she was like, it doesn't,
but that just goes again to the poor reporting of the article that just wants a sensationalistic headline and doesn't explain what the drawbacks might be. It just says, and I am surprised that a story that is so one-sided against the Republican groomers actively was honest enough to say AOC voted against it.
That's a good point. Who wrote this one? Jezebel?
Yeah.
Come on.
They're not the most nonpartisan that I've ever seen.
No. It's definitely got a slant.
It does. All right. What did I have up next? I don't remember. Oh, this is kind of a dick one. I'm going to do it in reverse order because there's not a lot on the last one. So because sometimes you get to talking when it comes to Tesla's largest ever decline has short sellers sitting on 15 billion in profits. So for a couple of weeks we've been seeing, or actually a couple months since Musk took over Twitter, Tesla's stock has been plummeting. But hey, at least someone's making out. So if you shorted Tesla, you're up 15 billion.
Yeah, that's a good point. How pissed off at you, or how pissed off at Elon Musk are you if you are just somebody who's kind of high up in Tesla and you're sitting there going, we revolutionized the auto industry. We're going to fucking outer space. Like, Neil took one small step for man and then we fucking ran with it. And now you're crashing that spaceship into the fucking ground to mean tweet. You fucking asshole. What are you doing? This is insane.
I wonder. No, you just said something. No one is talking about. What is it? SpaceX? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, he
nobody's talking about. This story is all about how Tesla has lost 64% of its over 800 billion in market capitalization in 2022. But short sellers are up 15 billion, but nobody's talking like you did about his rocket company.
I mean, why you could have just isn't it enough just to be a fucking billionaire? Like, what do you need this for? And I was kind of wrong on this whole Elon buying Twitter thing.
Sure.
We've talked about it on here before. I really thought it was going to be a sort of, well, I want to own this so I can boot off anybody who's saying shit that I don't want about my companies, down the road,
right?
Whatever. We're finding more out about mining for what's that stuff? Cobalt. For the batteries. Like, it turns out they're basically using slave labor in the Congo to do that. Now, to be fair, it is mostly outsourced companies that are doing it. It's just the U.S. companies buying it, but it's still like still kind of an icky thing in your supply chain.
It's like the Nike shoes of the 80s and early 90s.
Right, where they're going, well, hey, Nike's just buying the shoes.
Right, they're putting the swoosh on it, but
yeah, and so it's like, yeah, but it's still kind of fucking icky,
It's not a Nike company making the shoe. It's not Tesla that's digging up we just buy it and put the swoosh on it, and
right. I thought, him owning this was basically going to be a way of him going, oh, did you just say something bad about the Cobalt company? That's hate speech. That's Russian misinformation. It's going off my fucking site here. I thought it was going to be more like that, but if you're doing that, you're not going fucking nuts on people. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not shaking it up so much. You want business as usual, so you can kind of just, oh yeah, we're booting off the normal stuff and this too. That doesn't seem to be what he's doing. It really does seem to be more like Howard Hughes buying the restaurant so that he can fucking fire the manager who wouldn't let him in. It seems to be a $44 billion version of that. And so if you're like even another billionaire, you got to be looking at this guy like, hey, what are you doing? Why don't you just do normal billionaire shit? Why don't you just fucking get blown on a yacht by 7 supermodels? And he's sitting there like, he's the richest guy in the world, and he's turning to these guys, hey, did you see me cracking jokes on SNL? No, I was busy getting blown by the lady on the front cover of the sports swimsuit edition from last week. You fucking moron. No, I don't want to tell funnies with Lorne Michaels. No, I'm getting blown by supermodels. Will you shut up and do rich guy shit?
Maybe somewhere in the back of his head, he's always been like the Joker and he just wants to see the world burn. At some point, when you are that rich, he beat Bezos for a while, right? He was the richest person. Maybe at some point you're I
think
he
wasn't until this. I think this
really that's what I'm saying. So when he just like, fuck it. He just like, I get to do whatever I want. I'm going to crash and burn, but I'm going to do it however I want. And the thing, like you said, the thing that sucks are the people that bought into it and are like, wait, you still have, billions of dollars. All I had was $1 million of your stock that's now worth 100,000.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? I mean, if you're sitting there, if you were making a lot of money on Tesla, if you were higher up in the company, it's like, hey, bro, why don't the people who are tweeting shit about you, why don't you just mean tweet them from outer space? Why don't you send them a dick pic from the fucking stars and be like, hey, fuck you. I just tweeted this. Like, I am getting blown in Neil Armstrong's footprint on the moon. How about you fuck off?
That's what I was just going to say. Instead of buying a company and then acting petulant, every time someone mean tweets you, just then send them a picture of you with your arm around the swimsuit issue model of the week. Just like, oh yeah, you're sitting in your mom's basement mean tweeting me. Look what I'm banging right here.
Right. Just do that. Just do what Andrew Tate was trying to do to Greta Thunberg, but don't have a human trafficking ring while you do it. You know, that's the move. You just get blown in outer space while not human trafficking.
It seems like it would be a very easy thing to do to not human traffic.
Right. And the thing is like, we don't know. This could just be webcam disputes. That said, once he got rich, he did go to Romania.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, it's not like the people moving to Puerto Rico to avoid tagging. That's that's not a normal place for an influencer to move to. That's where it's kind of, for me, I'm like, like some of the details seem a little fuzzy so far coming out like against him, where it's like, well, it seems like he could get people to be on his webcam in a normal way. Like he could just hire hookers more or less, or, you know, a porn star, whatever. But then it's also like, but you could have done that from LA too. You know, like, why are you in Belarus? Is that a hot spot for influencers or just you?
You could have gone to wherever the bunny ranch is located in Nevada. You know, you could have gone somewhere.
It seemed like you had the money for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like Belarus is a hot spot for influencers so much as human traffickers.
Maybe it was the pizza. He just had to have that pizza.
Yeah, that would be like if a guy got rich and then he was accused of selling crack, and they're like, where was he at? Like LA, Beverly Hills? No. He got really rich and stayed in the shittiest parts of Compton. And it's like,
odd choices. All right, final story. And this, again, I will fully admit, this is me being an asshole up front. I sent you a tweet. The Taliban are shooting and beating male students who walked out of their exams in Afghanistan today to protest the ban on women going to university. The Taliban said, we're going to let women get educated. Just kidding. Bait and switch. Women have to stay home. This is the dick move on my part. Fully admit it, being a dick. We were over there for 20 years trying to hold shit together. And then we left. And didn't everybody kind of roll over for the lapdog and play lapdogs to the Taliban? I mean, Ukraine has been putting up a hell of a fight. Apples and oranges. I know it's a different situation, different countries. I get it, but kind of odd to like, what can be done about the Taliban? We tried to do it for 20 years. We failed. Nothing can be done. Jake, you were there. You saw it firsthand. I mean, it's a tribal country. You have like the 50 United States are 50 states with one government. All the different factions of Afghanistan, they could be 50 different countries.
And yeah, admittedly, I actually missed this video that you sent, but
basically the gist of it is Afghanistan is not
I'm watching it now.
State. It is 50 different, and I'm just making that number up. It's a bunch of different.
No, it really is. It's like a tribal. It's more of a tribal place. It's like not even regional. I mean, you know, like the country. In terms of, at least where I was at up in the Kush Mountains, man, it was very cut off from the rest of it. So it's like Afghanistan is like a whole thing, doesn't even really exist to those people up there. It's just kind of, they just see each group of armed guys as a different warlord. You know, we were just a group of warlords from farther over the mountains that talked more different than the other people, because like they don't even speak the same language throughout the country. It's very, very diverse, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
Let me just.
Yeah. I just had this thought when you said that. We always complain about the richest 1% having everything. In Afghanistan, those 1% are the warlords. And so, I mean, when they march into a city and say, we're in charge, that's pretty much it. I mean, you get enough of them together that just want to hold on to their power and their opium fields. What?
Yeah, I read a statistic from before we went there, and from my understanding, it hadn't changed much by the time we were there, because I was there 2010, 2011. The statistic was there was over 70% unemployment in the country, like as a whole, like as a national average. So that includes places like Kabul, where it's a little more modern, and you know, they've got like a university, and they've got, so of course it's going to be much lower than 70% there, but then, you know, much higher than 70% in like the spots where I was at that was more rural and stuff like that.
Which is they're just, you know, village farmers. That's all they do.
Yeah.
Is they,
and over 70%,
not farmers, sustenance farming. They farm for themselves to survive, not like selling crops to the cities.
Yeah. Their cows looked anorexic. It was fucking weird, dude.
Yeah.
But it also over 70% illiteracy, you know? So like, again, when you, that it's going to be much, much lower than that in like Kabul.
When they talked about voting, it was they would vote by picture, you know, like, you know, not like, oh, this is my candidate, like I'm voting for. They talked about campaigns, just had you're voting for whatever picture.
Right. Yeah. It's fucking wild there, dude. So I asked one of our interpreters, like, hey, how did the Taliban collect taxes before we came in 2001? He just kind of laughed, like, taxes, you know, because I was thinking about, I'm like, we had during the Great Depression, it was like 30% unemployment in America. And that was like fucking epic, like still talked about today, just historic fucking rates of, we had 30%. They perpetually have over 70%. So I'm like, how do you even fucking tax that? You know what I mean? You're basically taxing homeless people at that point, you know?
Which we should try.
So
I was like, but continue.
Yeah. The homeless have had it too good for too long, I say. But no,
So you asked him, how do you tax? And he laughed.
I asked him, and he just kind of laughed. I was like, taxes. I was like, yeah. You know, you work, you give the government some of your money, and they like, you know, buy themselves arms, and they fix roads, they whatever. And he was like, well, they might set up a checkpoint in the road and be like, give me some fucking taxes, you know? And so I'm like, okay, but they're basically robbing homeless people at that point, you know? That don't have anything. And so I was like, well, how did they, and they weren't doing most of the things that governments do here in most other places, you know,
they
like
weren't setting up irrigation systems or plumbing or aqueducts or whatever have you. I mean,
no, there was no running water or electricity where I was at. It was, you know, pretty bare bones, you know? And so I was like, well, how did they at least get the money to fight the Northern Alliance? That was the other big group other than the Taliban, who the Taliban was fighting before we were there. And there was other different groups and factions.
The Northern Alliance.
Yeah. You know, this is, so to speak, like loosely, but and so, well, he was like, I was like, how do they at least get the money to arm themselves to fight the Northern Alliance? You know, and he said, opium farmers. And I'm like, well, that's very telling. That's very telling on why there was so much corruption when I was there and why it turned over so quickly. Because if you're not getting funded by the people, if you're only getting funded by the opium farmers, then you work for the opium farmers. Like as a government, like as police, as a military force, there's no working for the people. And I know you say, well, Jake, in America, it's not that way either. They look out for rich people in their interest. It's like, but there's at least this pretend sense. There's a little bit of a sense of like, we're working for the people. If I'm not one of the rich people that controls everything, but if I call 911 because my house is on fire, they will send a fire truck. That is not the case there. And that is not even the pretend case. It is just, we are here to look out for the opium farmers and the warlords that control those opium farmers. And you as people are just kind of in the way. We're going to use weapons to control you. We're going to use religion to control you and keep you in line. We are the holy fighters that God sent to control this fucking place. And if you get out of line, we will put a bullet through your fucking head. And we don't give a shit. We'll put one through a 15-year-old girl's hijab. Ask Malala how holy these fucking guys are and how much they love Muslims, because they don't. They are Muslim the way that the Italian mafia is Catholic. Yeah, they got the jewelry and they got the terminology, but spreading the good word of Allah is not their main purpose, you know? So that's when it's like that, when you just have groups that are fighting for control of the opium farms, you don't have a pretend sense of, well, we're looking out for the people. You know what I mean? Like, and so when you have another group that, you know, we put in place, they're just sort of like, hey, we're the warlords now. I guess we'll act accordingly. And so it's not like serving the military here, working for the cops or the fire department, whatever. It's basically like working for McDonald's or Wendy's, but with guns, you know, or like the Bloods and the Crips or something like that. And so
if you guns,
but with more guns and no
more
cops.
guns.
Yeah. And so it's sort of like if you, that's why we had so many people in like the Afghan army, still working with the Taliban, because they're like, hey, we're not working for a group that truly represents Afghanistan and blah, 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 blah. That's some bullshit that we made up and all that. That doesn't even exist over there. They don't get the concept of that. So it's sort of like, if I can work for, you know, the Americans and the government they put in place, that's McDonald's. If I can get a paycheck from McDonald's and Wendy's at the same time, if I can work for McDonald's on the fryer and then just send them a fucking pic of the spices they're using, fuck it, why not? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's why they said when the Taliban retake of the country was not a civil war. It was they just drove up and everyone went,
they've been there the whole time. Yeah,
I recognize you. You were here before. You're still here. Now you're back. It was just familiarity.
We were shipping our own gear, much of it in Connexes at the time I was there, through Pakistan, and bribing Taliban warlords not to rob it, which they still did a little. So it's like we were doing the same thing they are. So when
like the longshoremen who, you know, we're going to get 90% of the TVs off the ship. You pay us a little money. We'll make sure 90% of the TVs get to Best Buy. 10% they're going to, you know, slide away. But 100% of the TVs will not disappear.
Right. 100%. That's what it was like, you know? And so we were actively bribing the Taliban to only steal a little from us. Our gear that was going in, you know, and my unit got fucking Connexes that were broken into, duffel bags that were fucking cut open, and I mean, like, yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so it's sort of like when people compare that to Ukraine, it's fucking nuts, because I mean, there was stories about, I think there was one famous one where there was like a governor who was getting paid by us to build a bridge, but then his cousin was the leader of the Taliban in the area. So
they blow it up.
So he would have him blow it up, and then we get more money from us to rebuild the bridge, and they would split it, and they would just keep. It was just a money pit that they were laughing their fucking way to the bank for. And so beautiful. It's like, yeah, they were there the whole time. It wasn't like it was sort of a fight, but it's like, hey, that's why we should have left a long fucking time ago, because we were doing nothing there.
Yeah, they were just waiting it out.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
you know what, Jake? Things are going to be different this year because it's 2023.
Goddamn.
All right.
It's a new, more progressive Taliban this year.
Yes. Anyone listening or watching, thank you for your time. Visit jakevevra.com. Visit nathantimmel.com. And here's to looking at 2023.
We are not human trafficking.
No, not yet. All right, my friend. It's going to cut us off in a second. So good seeing your face.
You too, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and your fam.
You too.
Bye.
Later, man.